Hey, I'm Mary Rose Lyons. Welcome to Chatting GPT, the podcast where I talk to people who are actually doing things with AI and not just talking about it. I'm the founder of the AI Institute and your host. Now, if you're in Ireland right now and you're listening to this stuff in traffic, possibly behind a tractor or a truck, you'll know that the price of fuel has become a very big deal indeed. Protesters have been blockading fuel depots across the country. Forecourts are running dry, and everyone is suddenly very interested in what petrol costs and where you can actually get it. This makes the timing of today's episode almost suspicious. My guests, Matt Cortland and John Fleming, have built an AI voice agent to call hundreds of pubs across Ireland to index the price of a pint of Guinness. And now they've turned the very same system onto petrol stations across the USA. Today, we get into exactly how they did that, what broke, and why a Northern Irish woman named Rachel was central to the whole operation. Let's go.
John and Matt, you are very welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I am so excited to talk to you about all these characters that you've created that you've used in a really interesting way for outbound. And I first was going to invite you on to talk about the Guinndex, which is obviously very close to my heart and many of our listeners, which is the work you did, very important work you did in the run up to St. Patrick's Day about the price of a pint of Guinness in Ireland. But then you dropped something this week, which is even more spectacular than that. Do you want to just tell everyone about the gas index and let them stop what they're doing? And if they're parked in their car trying to get through traffic, you'll be very interested to hear this one.
Yeah, so we made the Guinndex first, mostly for John's country, for Ireland. And then we thought, like, what could we do that would resonate with Americans as much as Guinness might resonate with an Irish audience? And the answer was gas. And my mom from New Jersey was just calling us and saying, can't you do something about the price of gas? It's ridiculous. And we're like, I mean, maybe. So we applied similar methodology and we've made a real-time gas index of prices by pump in the US with a feature to tell you if it's worth the drive. So relative to your current location, what's closest to you and what's a little bit further, and is it worth it with all the gas to get there?
That is so fantastic. So let's go back to the beginning. You originally did the Guinndex to, I suppose, what really appealed to me was just the variety of AI tools that you cobbled together with a very spectacular purpose in mind. So do you want to first of all share how you built the thing? And I'm really interested to find out, about the kind of the human, when it interacted and touched humans first, like any of the kind of blips or bloopers that kind of happened.
Yeah, well, so we live in London now, but I had lived in Ireland, which is where we met, for about 5 years. I came over as a U.S. Ireland Alliance scholar, George Mitchell scholar originally,
Oh,
master's
great.
at the IT, and created digital media. And like, I love Dublin, right?
Yay, so do I.
I'm over for work and for family a bunch. And the last time I was over, I paid like €7.80 for a pint in kind of like
Temple
central.
Bar.
Wasn't no, no. I know better. Just somewhere that was just kind of
Yeah.
regular and was like, what the hell is going on?
The train station at Houston. I know all the places where they charge an awful lot of money because I paid it.
And I thought like, well, I can go 2 streets over and get it for a year and a half cheaper. There's something's odd. So I decided to kind of look into it and was looking into the CSO data, the Central Statistics Office data, as you do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because with
Being a
AI,
nerd, yeah. We all do.
I mean, it's all about APIs, how an AI agent can interact with an API in a data set. And the Irish government has spectacular data sets. Whoever's doing
Yes.
the data in Ireland, well done. But one of the things they tracked was the cost of a pint. And they have been tracking it for a lager, for a stout, for all different metrics until 2011. And then they just stopped tracking it for some reason. So there was a 14-year gap, and it was like €3.93 the last time that
Oh, you're depressing me
was
now.
done, right? And then it was 780. I was like, what's going on? Oh, yeah, I talked to John and he was like, I mean, why don't you just call everywhere? Yeah.
As if I've got the time for that, John.
Right. It's like, you could try. But then it became like a exercise of, okay, well, how can we get this information? What sources of data are there that are reliable? And we cobbled together a few sources. So one was like the Google Maps listings for all the pubs in Ireland and Northern Ireland, because that's the most reliable source for that. They have phone numbers associated with them. They have websites, but pub owners don't put prices of pints on websites. So the only real option was to call or to call in. As much as I would enjoy having that many pints of Guinness. So yeah, we used a tool called 11 Labs, which is a voice, like a text to voice service. And they have an API as well for an AI agent. And so we then used Claude Code and we connected all of these systems and devised the calling plan.
So tell me this. Evan Labs, I love it. Okay. It's my favorite of the kind of text to voice tools. Um, how my biggest issue with the voice tools is that I speak with a regional accent. I have an Irish accent, and I was told by HeyGen that they're aware of the fact that their Irish accents don't actually sound like Irish people, and that this is very far down their list of priorities. Which I can kind of get that, because we're such a small nation. So, how did you get over the accent thing on 11 Labs?
So I'd say that they have a lot of variety of Irish accents on 11 Labs. They've since, I think, upped their game perhaps,
Oh, good.
but they've made it so you can clone your own voice. So anyone can go record for about 60 minutes and it creates a real clone. So it's no longer like the computer mimicking what
Yeah.
it thinks it's an Irish accent sounds like. It's actually people in Ireland cloning their voices to be able to be used in this way. And so that's one of
Oh.
the agents we used was someone from Northern Ireland who cloned their voice to be able to be used.
Great. So then, and is that like one of the kind of, the way, what I really like about 11 Labs is that they famously came out and said that any voiceover artists can put their voices up and they will be paid a commission on when their voice is used. Like, I really like how ethically they're going about building their business. So did you take one of those kind of, voices that were in the gallery, right?
Yeah, we took someone's voice who had trained it and then gets
Yeah.
paid for their voice being used.
Great.
And we tested a bunch of different options, and we settled on one that we thought kind of hit the mark for what we're looking for.
So I'm a Northern Irish woman ringing up to find out how much is a pint of Guinness.
It's coming in for a
Which is
wee pint.
kind of, yeah, that might happen for a wee pint. Excellent. So tell me then, how did you bring Claude Code in? What was Claude doing?
Yeah, Claude is like the orchestrator of all of that. The way that we're using it is, I mean, we're talking in the command line to Claude Code, and it has our API keys, saved in our, password in our password safely, and
Yes.
then has access to different tools. So, we'll have the 11 Labs API stored, and then it can access and call 11 Labs, and then it can call Twilio, which is the way that you can actually make the phone call, and then it can call our database and then store things, and then it can come and then do a data analysis on the transcripts that came through to
Mhm.
pull out phone quotes or things you should pay attention to, or maybe iterations through it, because you don't want to just call everyone at the same time. We did 10 calls, see what comes back, improve 10 calls, see
Yes.
what comes back. Yeah, and you iteratively improve on that until you're happy and you're like, okay, now let's call 200 pubs at the same time.
Wow. Okay. So tell me how, like, when you did the first 10 calls, like, did everything go right and swimmingly, or did anything break?
Oh yeah, no, it did not go correctly the
Yeah.
first time.
I knew that'd be the answer.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't want to provide like a shit experience to someone on the other end of the phone as
No.
well. You're dealing with real people and they're busy and they have things they need to do. People who work in pubs I used to own pubs, right? Like I know they have other things to be doing than answering stupid questions. So we tried to keep the calls as short as possible. So on average, a call was like 20 to 25 seconds long. Quick one. Excuse me, we're coming in for a wee drink. Can you tell us how much a pint is? Answer, hang up the phone. And sometimes pub owners just had a bit of banter. She struggled with Irish banter, I tell you.
There's a bit of a lag when she's, like, trying to figure it out.
Did they give a bit of banter and then she's just there going, right, thanks, goodbye, or in a Northern Irish accent?
Yeah, well, she can be conversational, so she can respond as well. But even like the conditional phrasing of speech, she just was a bit confused. So she had a straighter. It was easier with gas station attendants, I think.
Right, and we're going to come on to that one in just one sec. So basically, your tool set where it was Google Maps to get the numbers, 11 Labs for the voice, Claude Code to orchestrate, make it happen, and then Twilio. Is that the kind of the app for the calling? Is that like a phone app? I don't know
Yeah, so
Twilio.
you
It's the only
purchase
one I
you
don't know.
purchase a phone number and then you hook it into 11 Labs, and through that you can then make the phone calls.
Yeah, so you
Oh,
have
right,
an
cool.
Irish with your old Irish SIM card that you got out and started using again.
Yeah, so I
Very
I, re- I
good.
repurposed my old one.
How much did it cost you
About €200 in total, I'd say.
to? for a piece of research amongst 500 humans,
Yeah.
€100. Like, wow. Hey,
Yeah. I mean,
research companies listening would be worried. Well, it is so creative. Like when I saw it around St. Patrick's Day, I was like, this is amazing. And I ran out and begged it to come onto the show. But then it's even more creative, like what you did this week with the gas index. So, like, John, do you want to tell me a bit about that in terms of the Bob, Hank, and Peggy experience?
Yeah, so we kind of like taking what Matt had like we had learned from like the Guinndex, and Matt's mom had kept asking us about setting up a similar system for gas in the US. Yeah, we decided to throw our hand at trying to see if we could index the gas over there, and because it's such a big topic at the moment with everything going
Yeah.
on, and prices fluctuate like quite a lot, like even within like small distances with gas stations in the US. So what we had kind of done was take the infrastructure that we had built from the Guinndex and then, well, initially starting from like our Google Maps data set, we were able to like
Mhm.
get like, okay, about like 50% of the gas stations in the US are kind of covered. But then that kind of that data can be stale as well. So, like up to maybe a week or something. But then there's about 50% of the gas stations that are missing. So they don't have their prices available through the app or through Google Maps data. So then we were like, okay, let's use our team or family, in this case of agents, Hank, Bobby, and Hank, Bobby, and Peggy, inspired from King of the Hill because they're a propane loving family. In the show, then we use them to act as our agents and then call up gas stations across the US to try and sort of fill in those gaps. But the idea there as well that we've added in more functionality into the gas index so that people
Mhm.
can now like if you're at a gas station, you can actually just like take a photo of the pump while you're there with the prices and it can extract then through the gas index like what is the price at that time and where are you located, so it is able to like use Google and essentially your location data to say like we think you're at this gas station, is this the price, confirm, and then you can add it. So it's kind of in the similar vein to the Guinness. So now we can hopefully start to build like more people using it, then that'll allow us to have a more complete data set. And that's hopefully in real time as it goes.
That's really cool. That's really cool because it's kind of like open. The users are able to enhance the data while they go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. Question that came to my mind. Okay, so you've now had four callers, two males and two females. Do people interact with the males in a different way to the way they interact with the females?
Great question.
well, I'd say it has to do perhaps more with the accent of the caller than it does the
Ah,
gender. Like we were toying around for the US with a bunch of different accents because you could go anywhere and with that one. And we settled on a southern accent for the US because we thought it was just like, hey y'all, just looking to come in for a price. It was just a little bit more, it
warm,
rolled off
friendly. Yeah,
friendly and non-threatening. I think
yeah,
like the
non-threatening.
non-threatening part of that was a way to kind of make people feel not suspicious and disarmed. Even though like for the US especially, we disclosed in the first sentence, I'm an AI, right? My name is Bobby,
Okay.
I'm an AI. Can you tell me the cost of regular?
You didn't do that with the Guindex, no?
Not if the agent was asked, we did.
Oh, right. Okay.
We
Yeah.
disclosed that, but it was a change that we thought like maybe it's just better to say it's an AI because the point of this wasn't to fool people or to trick people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just like to get a one data point that is a hard to get data point.
Yeah. So it was that like, I'm an AI, can ask you a couple of questions. How much is price of gas?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
anyone say, no, I'm not telling you that?
Only 1 in 700 people told Bobby to fuck
And please tell me, were they in America or in Ireland?
in America. Yeah, no.
Okay, phew, 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 phew.
No. But only 1 in 700 people seem to have any problem with it in America. In Ireland,
But
people would just
yeah, it's interesting listening to it though, because even though it's like someone's being rude to like, they're being like rude to the AI, it's like they're still talking to it like it's a person. So they'll be like, Bobby's like, it's like, hey, I'm an AI. I'm just looking what's the gas prices. And they're like, excuse me, sir, what did you say? Go back to that. You said you're an AI, but it's like they're like, oh yeah, I'm just checking gas prices. And it's like, no, 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 you said you're an AI, but like the conversation continues like it's with a regular person. Like it's not like a robot voice where you're like,
Yes.
gonna hang up, right?
Were you able to kind of splice and dice your data using Claude, like just instantly, like live as the data was coming through, or how did that work?
yeah, so for every batch of calls that completed, I would run a script to then be able to extract that information out. And then I had a call with 11 Labs in San Francisco with one of their engineers, and he was like, Oh, let's there's actually like a feature that you can use where you can set data points that you want collected at the time of the call. So a change we made between the first time and the second time was we also set up that data capture. So what it was doing, it was using, I think, 11 Labs' LLM to extract those data points that we had set automatically. And even things of like flag the call for interesting quote, not interesting quote. You kind of like got granular. So then
Yes.
what we
Yeah.
were getting back out was a cleaner data set. Whereas the first time with the Guinndex, we kind of just ran it through and had Claude do all the heavy work. And I think we got a better result the second time, but that was again just like by someone who was like, "Hey, look at this feature. It might be useful."
Would it work for something where you've got like you're like both instances you have shown us, it's like one question, but we'd have maybe about 7 or 8 questions.
I think yes, it would, but it depends on which voice model you use because there's
Mhm.
different levels of latency. So some voice models are made to record a script or to read you something, right? Others are
Mhm.
meant to be more conversational, so it's a faster response time. And then there's different models within there. Like, do you want to use Google Gemini to do that? Do you want to use Claude? Do you want to? So it really like the
Gemini 'cause it's cheaper. Thanks.
no, well, like the fine tuning of it really matters. But what you can do by
Mm.
working if you do it with Claude Code and port into 11 Labs that way, you can really quickly test all permutations of which one may work and which one, because one model worked well for Ireland and then the other model worked better and differently for the US.
Why is that, I wonder?
It had to do with I think it had to do with the pattern of speech and it had to do with the latency of how long it takes someone to answer or the gap between when they check. Because in both instances, someone might have to put the phone down to go look to come back. And in a gas station example, they might like a lot of people like went outside to go look at the price to walk inside to then have a conversation. So it's like, I don't know, it's a bit of an art.
So if there's a bit of silence on the phone, the AI thinks it's over and goes, "Thanks very much, bye."
Yeah. Or like, hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, for Bobby, he was saying, like it's like they're like, "I'm just gonna go out inside and check now," and they'd be like, "Sure," and then it's like the person would be like, "Give me a minute," and he's like, "No problem," and then they're like, "Stop." They're like, "Wait, I'm going outside to check."
People are so polite.
Gas station attendants were so
They're awesome.
pointing out like everyone was so polite across the board. A notable thing with people who answer the phone in Ireland, like even if they're like, "Oh, if it's too expensive, come in anyway. We'll buy you a pint. Just come in. It's the best pint." It was like really endearing and very nice. And even just like oh, with the best pint in X city, right? You should come in
Yeah.
where, it's
Oh,
good.
that's so cool. That is so cool. But you know what actually I'm wondering, and maybe John, you can answer this me. How did the AI deal with the Irish goodbye? Bye, 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 bye. Like, did the AI like did little what's her name? Rachel get a bit freaked out with all these multiple goodbyes?
No, it's a great point you
No.
raised because we actually had it set up at the start that she couldn't hang up the phone. So, like, people would be doing the bye bye, and she'd also be like bye, but then it's like she can't hang up. So it's like it just continues on. So that they just keep having then like, oh wait, what time are you coming? And it's like bye. It's like how
That's
many of you
very
are there?
funny.
It's like bye. So it was very
So
funny.
the Irish goodbye nearly broke the entire study. Well, I'm so
Yeah.
glad it didn't. I'm so glad it didn't. Oh, guys, this is such an interesting and topical story. I mean, I think it's just such a great way of demonstrating your skills. You know, you can put things together for other companies that maybe need to do some voice outbound as well. So if people wanted to find you, where should they go to look?
Yeah, so if you go to Guinndex.ai, Guinndex.ai, there's a contact email for us there and you can reach out to us. So we get a lot of LinkedIn messages too that works and been having calls with people who kind of want to apply this to their industry or to their company. And we're always happy to have a chat. And but even if we can't help, we can maybe point in the right direction.
That sounds fantastic. Well, listen, I am really, really glad to have had this conversation. It's so topical. Thank you so much for being on, John and Matt, and best of luck in the next index that you create.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thanks for having us.
So that's a wrap on today's chat with Matt and John. And if you're still sitting in traffic somewhere in Ireland waiting for a petrol station to reopen, at least now you know there's an AI agent that could tell you which one has fuel. What I love about this one is how practical it is. No massive budget, no team of engineers, just two lads, a handful of APIs, a Northern Irish voice called Rachel, and about €200. That's the bit I want you to take away. The tools are available. The question is whether you're curious enough to pick them up. So if you want to find Matt and John, head over to Guindex.ai. That's Guindex.ai, and you'll find a contact there. And if you found this useful, please share it with one person who you think might get a kick out of it. And if you haven't already, please leave us a rating. It takes 30 seconds and it genuinely helps us get more people finding the show. If you're on Spotify, tap the three dots next to the episode, hit view show, and the star ratings right there. On Apple Podcasts, you just have to scroll to the bottom of the show page and then you tap write a review. I'm Mary Rose Lyons. I want to say thank you for listening to Chatting GPT.